Welcome to the Healthy Skin Show with Jennifer Fugo, where we're flipping everything you've been told about your chronic skin issues upside down and connecting you with alternative solutions your dermatologist never told you about.
Welcome back to episode number 51 of the Healthy Skin Show. Today, I want to touch on a topic that will help you decide which way to go when it comes to making those executive decisions for your rashes. You've probably heard me say that you should make the best decisions for your skin based on your own health values. It's an important part of the equation because when you're left feeling helpless, it can be the result of not being clear on what's important to you. The truth is, it's okay to not want pills or creams anymore to band-aid your skin problems. And it's equally okay to want them and whatever else the doctor can throw at your skin. The difference in which way you choose to go comes down to your values. It's about what's important to you and what you're willing to give up in order to get to your destination or goal. Each route requires compromise, and neither is a perfectly straight line to clear skin. I wish there was a magic wand that I could wave to solve your rash puzzle, but unfortunately, it doesn't exist. Healing isn't a straight line, and everything we do, both natural and conventional, has consequences. So let's talk this through so that you can get a bit clearer on what your health values are and if the way you're addressing your skin is truly in line with them. Here's the thing. These health values will guide every single decision that you'll make, from whether you'll take ibuprofen at the slightest of a headache to bigger, more serious decisions made in those life and death moments. You might want to pump the brakes the moment the doctor mentions antibiotics or any other type of medication, while others will say, hey, bring it on if it's going to help me. And there's really not two camps here because you can certainly fall within a spectrum of values. What I can tell you is this. Wherever you fall on that spectrum is okay. There's no wrong choice or decision, no matter what anyone else says. I personally believe that we are each a steward of the one body that you've got. It's part of your life's purpose to care for this precious vessel as best you can. And that said, everyone approaches this differently. If you've tuned into the Healthy Skin Show for some time now, you know that I'm pretty non-dogmatic. The reason is that I've worked in the conventional healthcare system. I've also experienced my own health problems and explored both conventional and alternative modalities. And I've also experienced ridicule from normal people all the way to medical doctors, believe it or not, for my own choices. But my executive health decisions were my own. And because they've always been rooted in my health values, I never felt bad, no matter who was making these critical comments. I knew what I wanted to try and what I was comfortable with. Those were my own choices. So what do I mean by executive health decisions? At the end of the day, you're the boss of your body and your health. You get to make the final decisions when it comes to taking action on something. No matter who makes the recommendation, suggestion, or outright gives you directions to follow, you always have the final say. You can choose to follow directions or not. And you can also change the people whom you get advice from so that you get answers or solutions from a different perspective. But the point here is that you always get to make the final decision. Now, discussions about health can be tricky because everyone seems to have an opinion, and some people think that their opinion is better than yours. I have a local acquaintance who thinks that anyone who decides to take their health into their own hands and doesn't listen to the doctor is nuts. I have relatives who will literally do anything and take anything recommended by their doctor, and they don't ever question a single thing that doctor will say. And yet, when you start to open your eyes to a more functional or integrative approach, you begin to see a different sort of relationship emerge. One where you are part of a team. It's a much different type of relationship that's rooted in the idea that you hold value within that higher level conversation about your health and what's going on with everything, not just how you showed up today at the doctor's office. What I'd encourage you to do is to think about what you like as well as what you really hate about your current medical practitioners and the relationships that you have with them. And then ask yourself why you feel the way that you do. It's not uncommon to dislike certain practitioners who make you feel like you're not being listened to. So in that case, one of your health values is that you want to feel heard and you want your experience to matter. And there's also what I like to call the pill mentality that can inform whether you're willing to make additional lifestyle changes or if you just want relief from taking medications. There is no wrong choice here. No matter what medication you choose to go with, though, don't go in blind. There are side effects to every single medication, and you can even find a bunch of resources here about the issues with different eczema and psoriasis medications on skinterrupt.com. Now, sure, only a tiny percentage of people may be affected by these medications in a negative way, but it doesn't feel so great if you end up being a part of those groups. So know what you are getting into before you start a medication. Know what the risks and side effects are, because some can be devastating no matter how small the risk may be. You can easily look this information up on rxlist.com or drugs.com, or you can review the brochure for the medication thoroughly or the website for the drug. Just make sure to review all of this information and then have an informed discussion with your doctor about your concerns based on your review of those medications. Making the best decision for you shouldn't be based on how desperate you are to get relief, but instead your health values, research, and that discussion about the pros and cons of your potential decision with your health practitioners. And just an FYI, some of that pill mentality has started to bleed into functional medicine. Some people just want supplements to fix everything. As an example, they'd rather take a supplement to manage out-of-control stress that could instead be helped with breathing exercises and other mindfulness practices. There are others who only want to address their health issues with food, insisting that food will fix everything when that unfortunately isn't always true. And yet others who will feel like they can't trust any practitioners at all and want to do all of the heavy lifting themselves, even if it takes 10 times as long, costs more money in the long run, and may or may not get them to the end goal. Ultimately, there is no wrong way to make these different types of executive health decisions. But you should be aware that each comes with pros and cons, and should the time come where you need to shift gears, it's okay to veer from a plan that seemed to be a good fit at the time, but your present circumstance requires a new or different way of meeting your health where you are. In the event that you've only known the typical doctor knows best relationship and are curious to try something different, here's what you need to know. I often describe the relationship that I think works best is one where you are in a partnership, or how I like to think of it as you are a co-pilot. When I work with clients, I don't assume that everything that you write on the intake form is all that there is to know about your health. Not after years of being told that the symptoms and issues that you notice aren't a big deal. We've been conditioned to blow things off and ignore them. So it's time to undo that bad habit, since tuning into your symptoms is critical. You've got to be present as I pick through your history so that you can tell me things that you had no idea would be important or have forgotten without any additional prompting. Together, we explore this lengthy history that includes things like the details of your birth, health as a child, medication history, to look for nutrient issues, toxic exposures, traumas and stress, daily diet, and even issues that have popped up on your labs after reviewing them. It's a sort of full disclosure process that helps create a roadmap of sorts with triggers, red flags, and other information that guides where we dig. Being able to clearly articulate symptoms and what effect different things that you've tried have had on your condition is critical. All of this, doing all of it, without getting lost in the forest despite the trees. Now, here's what you need to know to really get the most out of this co-pilot type relationship. This isn't a passive process. You have to be involved. Energy and time are required on your part to make change happen. You will not feel better tomorrow. And the more that's wrong and the longer you've been sick, the longer it will take to resolve issues. You have to be willing to share the good and the bad of what's going on with your practitioner. You have to track what was asked of you, even if it seems silly or mundane. And remember that practitioners look at things differently than you do. Ask questions if you're confused or have a concern in regards to pretty much anything. Express how deeply you'd like your labs explained to you. Say something if you're not feeling well sooner rather than later, and tell your practitioner if what they're suggesting is not doable for you. This really is not as simple as just taking a few supplements and using some herbal creams. Every step of the way that's suggested should be intentional so that what you are doing adds up to change. It may involve doing multiple protocols depending on how sensitive your system is and how much ground needs to be covered. And you've got to check in with your practitioner when you are asked to do so. I like to hear from clients either every week or every other week so that we have the chance to make tweaks and adjust the protocol based on how your body is reacting. It's critical to have an open dialogue and that you feel as if you're being heard. This way you feel supported while also having an integral seat at the table. Because you are the only one who truly knows what it's like living in your body, experiencing your symptoms. You are the only one who can provide that feedback. And only you can do the work that it takes to put the plan into action. This is an entirely different sort of relationship than the one built in conventional medicine. However, it is one that can be incredibly rewarding if you have the mindset that you'd like to explore what's going on underneath the surface. Getting clear on your health values and how you want to approach your health puzzle is really important. No matter what you choose to do, know that your choice is highly personal and that no matter what you decide, I support you. Got any questions or comments about this podcast? Or maybe you're thinking about making the leap from conventional medicine to something a bit more integrative. Head on over to this episode's post and share your thoughts to keep the conversation going. And please make sure to subscribe and share this episode and the Healthy Skin Show with someone you know who could use a dose of inspiration and hope that there's another way to look at their skin rashes. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.